Imagine standing on the deck of a pirate ship, the ocean raging around you, cannon smoke thick in the air, and the enemy closing in. You expect cutlasses, pistols, maybe even a cannon or two. But what if I told you that pirates often wielded weapons so strange, so unexpected, that they could turn the tide of battle in ways no one saw coming? Today, we're diving into the bizarre, the brutal, and the brilliant arsenal of pirates that history often forgets. Before we sail any further, if you enjoy this journey into the unconventional, hit that subscribe button, give a thumbs up, and tell me in the comments where and at what time you rewatching this. Let's connect with fellow adventurers worldwide. The first weapon that might make you raise an eyebrow. Isn't a weapon at all in the traditional sense. It's fire. Pirates would like crude flammable device, star-soaked rags, wrapped around cannonballs or wooden stakes to launch them across decks. The effect was psychological warfare at its finest. Enemies panicked as flames erupted amidst smoke, blinding them and creating chaos. It was messy, terrifying, and far more effective than a direct assault in many cases. Then there were the stink bombs of the Caribbean. Pirates would throw containers of rotting fish or other foul substances onto opposing ships, forcing enemy crews to gag, stumble, and lose coordination. It sounds absurd, almost cartoonish, but in the heat of battle, when every second counts, disruption is power. Pirates were masters of improvisation. A well-timed whiff of decay could decide a fight without a single sword drawn. Consider the humble blunderbuss. Pirates often turned everyday objects into deadly instruments. Stones, nails, scrap metal, even coins could be packed into these short-barreled guns, creating a shotgun effect that shredded anything in its path at close range. Imagine being on a ship, the guns flash, lighting up the deck, and suddenly you're hit by a storm of metal shards. Most of the time, enemies didn't survive long enough to figure out what hit them. Pirates also turned rope and chains into weapons. A rope with a weight attached, known as a slungshot, could break bones or knock an opponent off balance. Chains were swung like whips, tangled foes, or locked gates to restrict movement. It's one thing to fight sword to sword, it's another to be ensnared by a swinging chain. While the deck tilts beneath you, pirates excelled at turning ordinary ship materials into extensions of their own bodies. Environment itself became a weapon. Pirates would manipulate ropes and pulleys to tip cargo crates, drop heavy barrels, or send bales of cannonballs tumbling down on opponents. Imagine a crate of cannonballs rolling across the deck, taking out a line of enemy sailors with a single sweep. It was clever, brutal, and undeniably cinematic, a testament to the pirates' resourcefulness. Psychological tactics were just as lethal. Take the infamous black spot, a mark of doom given to enemies or betrayers. Its power wasn't in the paper itself, but in what it represented: fear, uncertainty, and the looming threat of violence. Pirates knew that terror could immobilize as effectively as steel, and in many cases, it worked better than any cutlass or pistol. Poison had a subtle place in the pirate arsenal. While not as common as legends suggest, pirates sometimes spiked food, water, or drink to incapacitate or kill. It wasn't always immediate death. Often, the goal was to weaken the enemy gradually, creating confusion and hesitation. Pirates were tacticians, constantly assessing risk and reward. Perhaps the most unexpected weapon was the sea itself. Pirates mastered shallow waters, reefs, and fog banks to trap, ambush, or hide from enemies. The wind, currents, and tides became extensions of strategy. A pirate ship could strike and vanish, leaving only confusion behind. Nature itself became a weapon, wielded with precision few could match. Barrels weren't just storage, they were weapons. Filled with sand, rocks, or even explosives, barrels could crush foes or create sudden barricades. These weren't mere tricks, they were calculated moves using physics and surprise. Pirates were early masters of battlefield engineering on a small, mobile scale. Even animals played a role. Carrier pigeons, cats, and monkeys served practical and occasionally strategic purposes. Birds carried messages. Cats controlled vermin. Some accounts suggest theatrical use animals as distractions or to unsettle enemy crews. In the chaos of a pirate raid, the unexpected often held advantage. Disguises and deception were weapons too. Masks, false identities, and illusions of greater numbers allowed pirates to manipulate perception. Smoke bombs, mirrors, and clever use of moonlight could make a ship appear larger. The idea was simple. Make the enemy hesitate, and you gain the upper hand without striking. Psychological warfare again proves as effective as physical aggression. What does this tell us about pirates beyond swords and gold? It reveals a culture of ingenuity where survival depended on creativity, resourcefulness, and exploiting every advantage. Pirates weren't mindless marauders. They were adaptable strategists. Each unexpected weapon and tactic reflected their understanding of human nature, physics, and the brutal arithmetic of life at sea. Consider the lesson for modern life. While few face pirate attacks, the principle is universal. The most effective tools are often those hidden in plain sight. Just as pirates turned ropes, fire, and stench into instruments of power, we can rethink ordinary elements around us. Innovation isn't always inventions seeing new uses for what exists. Back on deck, amidst cannon fire and chaos, pirates thrived on creativity. One moment, a blunderbuss tears through the air. The next, a swinging chain knocks sailors off balance. Then a flaming projectile arcs over the deck, striking terror into hearts. Survival demanded rapid adaptation, and those who failed rarely lived. Infamous pirates like Blackbeard used terror alongside unexpected weapons. Smoke fuses tucked into hats or beards made him appear supernatural. Enemies hesitated or surrendered without a fight. Perception became a weapon, proving fear itself could be as sharp as a sword. Pirates also used improvised explosives, gunpowder-filled devices, or rudimentary grenades. Misfires were common, but the threat alone forced opponents to fight differently, disrupting formations and retreating. Pirates weren't just fighting, they were shaping the battlefield. Boarding hooks, grapples, and climbing gear enabled vertical combat. Pirates swung onto enemy vessels, destabilizing decks and creating openings. Surprise, gravity, and aggression turned ordinary sailors into easy prey. All of these weapons share a common thread: adaptability. Pirates survived where navies failed because they refused to be constrained by norms. They observed, experimented, and exploited weaknesses almost surgically. There's harsh beauty, here a reminder that ingenuity often outpaces brute strength. Picture it vividly. Smoke, chaos, flaming projectiles, swinging chains, stench, fear, and unpredictability. Pirates thrived in uncertainty, wielding the unexpected as effortlessly as a sword. History remembers them for gold, but their true mastery lay in creativity under pressure. In the end, what makes pirates fascinating isn't lawlessness, but relentless inventiveness. From fire and blunderbusses to barrels, chains, and psychological tricks, their arsenal defied convention and exploited human nature. They turned the ordinary into extraordinary, and in doing so, became legends not just for plunder, but for audacity, cunning, and imagination. Next time you think of pirates, don't just picture cutlasses and cannonballs. Picture fire, stench, swinging chains, and cunning that made them masters of the unexpected. Their weapons were as much about brains as brawn, and their legacy reminds us that the unexpected often holds the greatest power. If you found yourself surprised or intrigued by the unexpected arsenal of pirates, subscribe and join us for more stories from the edges of history. Stay curious, stay adventurous, and remember the unexpected often holds the greatest power.